In those agencies that had the high integrity index, those agencies had already dealt with the issue of accountability in some way. In other words, some way or another, they had created the culture where officers were more willing to protect the integrity of the institution. I like to use a simple metaphor. In a healthy body, if you get an infection, and by the way, the technical word is antigen that goes in your body, but if you get an infection, what does your body do? Does anybody know the sort of how your body responds to an infection? White blood cells, right? Okay, your white blood cells produce what's called antibodies. And you know what the antibodies do? If you saw them in a microscope, they surround the antigen, which is the infection, and they literally eat it up. It's a really amazing thing. In fact, you get infections all the time, and your body successfully defeats them. It's only occasionally when they're so strong that you need an antibiotic or something, because in this case, the infection or the antigen was stronger than the antibodies. But in 100 cases out of 101, the antigens are defeated. Now, what am I telling you this? What do you think happens in a healthy organization? An antigen is a police officer who lies. An antigen is a police officer who uses disrespect or, violates any of the rules. That's an infection. One possibility is, I got to get an antibiotic. I got to report it to the boss. No. What does a healthy organization do? It is surrounded immediately by the positive employees who are the antibodies. The other officers, hey, come on, we don't do that here. Hey, stop that. Knock that off. If you don't, I'm going to have to report it. Don't put me in that awkward position, right? In other words, the first line of defense is not to report. The first line of defense is to stop, to try to stop the behavior in some constructive way without having to go to the boss, and say, Mommy, Daddy, well, look what he's doing. He broke my toy. So we want to point out that what you're trying to create and what these cultures were that proved to be a high integrity culture were organizations where they were self-policing, where the nature. Now, how do you produce that? First of all, you've got to value it. You've got to make it clear that something that's important, that's part of your values. This is your responsibility to protect the rest of us. Who are you loyal to, the bad guy or us? Why are you letting the bad guys win? You can do that. And secondly, you've got to force it if the person isn't convinced. Remember, convince or coerce. Saying, okay, but if you don't do this, and we find out that you knew, you are in trouble too, and there will be a discipline. That has been effective.